Hello, I'm Dara and welcome to my beef farm. I'm just on the New Holland here and have a fertiliser spreader on again. I'm just finishing the last couple of paddocks now in this round of fertiliser. So all the grazing paddocks will have got 25 units of nitrogen. And when I've that done, I'll just have a look at the second bunch of cows. So we'll have a walk through them and have a chat and talk to you about the new bull. So I'm just down here with the second bunch of cows. You wouldn't have seen much of these cows. There's the bunch of 40 cows, which you'd see a lot of. They're the ones AI and tail paints, and these ones are running with the new Angus bull. So I want to show you the new bull, and I'll talk through you a little bit about him and a little bit about the cows in this group here. Now, I showed you a short clip of the Angus bull early on in the summer, possibly back in April when I got him, but I never probably talked about him or gave you a good look at him. So I'm just going to touch on a little bit as to why I bought an Angus bull. My usual clean-up bulls would have been a Limousin or a Hereford, but I decided to go for an Angus now this time. So I have this cow here, 633. She always comes up there for a scratch there. She kind of shadows me around a little bit there. So I'll just go walking and talking there. 433 is coming on behind me there, so we'll walk and talk, and we'll have a chat about what's here in these cows. Here she comes again now. You go away, you goose. If you look at this one coming here every day, she'll come over and stand beside me, but she don't want to be rubbed. It's not the head end she wants to have rubbed at all. It's her tailbone. Now, hey, Judy. Getting the old spot there for her. Now, when she gets a little scratch now, she'll be happy and I can go off and do a few bits. So here's the Angus bull. Bettyville Tim is his name. I bought him from a dealer breeder in Kilkenny. He's a Dublin bull originally there. He's by a bull called Gabriel Pat, a progressive genetics bull. I don't pretend to know a whole lot about Angus breeding. So for anyone who wants to know, anyway, he's by, I said, Gabriel Pat. He's plus 12 for carcass weight, and he's minus 3 days on gestation. So he's really what I'm looking for. A good strong bull there for carcass weight. So that, I think what that would mean is, we'll say if the control was 0, he'd produce 12 kilos more carcass weight by using him than another bull that would be on a control of 0. So he's minus 3 days gestation, which is really what I'm after. I want to use him to tighten up my calf and interval. So I'll just go around on him there and see if he'll stand. He has a lovely straight back, good shoulder. He's well made now, and there's a good bit of length and a good bit of height in him for an Angus bull. My dad liked him. Maybe he wasn't my first choice, we'll say, but my dad liked him there, and he said, that's the bull. I said I'd go with him then. He knows a lot more than I do. I've been looking at bulls for the last 70 years. He's a very active bull. He's really keeping going around on the cows there and checking, double checking. So what's the story here? I let the bull off with the Maiden Heers there in April, and I let him run with him there for 3 weeks. I had the heifer's tail painter going off, and I felt there was nothing happening, that there was no activity going on. He definitely hadn't pulled any. So I decided to get out the vet and scan the heifers, and sure enough, none of them were really cycling. We decided we'd leave them for a fortnight and see what happened, that some of the heifers were close to cycling from looking at the scanning. So I left them about 10 days and I scanned again. And in the meantime, I felt that there had been a couple had come bulling. I wasn't keeping an overly close eye on them, but I did feel that there was activity going on there. And sure enough, when we did scan them, 5 out of the 10 had cycled. So obviously they would have had been served. So the other 5 then hadn't cycled. So I decided then to put what we call seeders in them. And that is a program where you insert a kind of a silicone type hormone in them, and you give them a couple of injections, and it brings the heifers bulling. Now I have some footage of me taking out the seeders, but again I made a boo-boo with my microphone and I forgot to turn it on. So it's just a little bit of silent footage taking out the seeders there, and you can see what they are. So I'll just put that in there now. So the seeder program then was this, they were in for 7 days, I think, something like that. They got a hormone injection. She's back again. Jesus Christ, we go away. They got a hormone injection. The seeders are pulled, and then the heifers were going to be served 52 hours with fixed time AI after the seeders are pulled. But the bull was also running with him. So about 36 hours later, they were all bulling and he had them all served. But I continued with the program, and I brought him in and I served them. So I've served the heifers with a red Angus bull, and I ran out of straw, so one of them got a limousine. So we'll know now next spring who was successful and who wasn't successful. Here is Crusty. If you remember her from an earlier video there, and she got the sunburn. Now the weather has been suiting her in that it has been very overcast and cloudy and that kind of thing, a little bit cooler. And would you believe it, Crusty has come bulling. And Crusty is 22 days since she was served. And she came bulling a couple of days after I did the fixed time AI on the heifers. And it's typical that poor old heifer like her that had sunburn and a lot of things going against her would come bulling. And the nice healthy heifers that you think should become bulling didn't come bulling. Like, it just makes no sense. The heifers are big enough, they're all well over 400 kilos is what Jaggers recommend, but I think because our growth rates are so high now, I don't think the reproductive system is staying up to speed with the growth rates. So while they might be 420 kilos at 15 months, their reproductive system is still 15 months old, and maybe it needs to be 16 and 17 months old before it'll properly get going. So maybe I'm fighting a little bit against nature by putting the seeders in them to get them cycling. But I suppose why I'm doing that is I have to calf the heifers here at 2 years of age. I can't carry heifers to 3 years old to calf them down, and I don't have an autumn herd that I can calf the autumn herd in the spring, kind of 2.5 years of age. I'm running a high stocking rate here, so I can't carry heifers to 3-year-old. In my opinion anyway, there's no money in it. I buy, spend a small bit of money, get the heifer cycling and getting them in calf. They're calving at 2 and they're having their second calf at 3. Why don't I just let the bull go naturally? Well, see, I kind of want to tighten up the herd as well. I don't want my heifers calving in the end of March. And they're always going to be late calfers then. They're never going to come forward, or it'll be very hard to get them forward. It'll take a couple of years. So I want to kind of be on the front foot with my heifers and having them calving down in February. And then if they do slip, they're only in the beginning of March, but you'll get them back again and maybe get them to January. Really what I want to have going forward is to start calving on the 20th of January and finish calving the 20th of March. This year I started calving the 20th of January and I finished the 20th of April. And I was just sick of it at the end of it there, waiting around for cows to calf. And you kind of I'd done all the late nights and all that sort of thing, and I just had enough of it. I just want to get on with the other jobs, such as rearing calves, and you're back in the field at that stage, you're spreading slurry, you're spreading fertilizer, and you can take your eye off the ball, whereas 2 months hard at, you're in the thick of it, and you're focused. So I actually scanned the third time here. I scanned the heifers kind of twice, and then I noticed then that I had a couple of cows I felt hadn't come bulling, and I also scanned a few more just to see what was the story. So that cow there, she's a second calfer, and I hadn't seen her coming bulling, but I felt possibly that she was in calf. And sure enough, when we scanned her, she was in calf about 35 days. So I was delighted to see that now, because that means the bull is fertile and he's working. And I'm not going to get an awful shock there when I scan the cows, pregnancy scan the cows in July or August, and there's a heap of them empty. The morning of the scanning, as I said, I had a heifer repeat, and I had this one here. She's a first calfer, and the two of them were kind of paired off together and they're rising on each other. And I had served her 46 days ago with AI, and I was kind of nervous that she was going to be empty and bulling, and thankfully she was scanned in calf. So that's delighted to know that my left arm is working as well as the bull. Black cow there is a second calfer. She wasn't cycling. She was a late calfer and she wasn't cycling, so she's after getting a cedar. This one here hadn't come bulling either, but she was okay. She was close to cycling, so she got a shot of estromet. So she has come bulling a couple of days later, and she is now served. That lovely heifer over there, I scanned her. She had what I thought been served naturally, so she has been proven in calf as well, scanned in calf. So I'm delighted with that now. She'll be a good early calf for there in February. But this cow here that's been following me around there for a while, I had seen her bulling, but I felt she wasn't in calf, and I just decided there that I would get her scanned again, and she had a big cyst, so she would never have gone in calf. She'd be bulling, and so I was letting her come bulling, but she'd never hold. So getting back to it then, why did I buy an Angus bull as opposed to a Limousin? Well, the Limousin bull I was using for the last few years tended to have a slightly longer gestation. If you could say the average gestation for Limousin was 286 days, he was tending to go to about 292 days or that. So you were putting on about 6 days on your average gestation. So what I'm hoping by using the Angus, who is -3 days, if their average gestation is 283 or 284 days, that those calves will be calving around 280 days. So it could be adding up to a difference of 10 days of gestation from the Limousin versus the Aberdeen Angus. Now that's on theory, paper and gestation length when they do calf will tell its own story. So what I was hoping, instead of cows slipping from March into April, or slipping from beginning of April to the end of April, that 10 days will pull the cows forward for me. And if I use him for a couple of years, it will bring the cows back to that target of March 20th. Suppose that's the main reason for him, is a short gestation, clean up bull, tighten up the calf and spread for me. I suppose the second reason is, and it's maybe a reason that's sometimes overlooked, is his polled, is that he has no horns and he won't pass horns on to his calves. So all the late calfers then won't have to be dehorned. There's 15 calves here in this group, and I dehorned them a week ago, and I push it off and push it off and push it off, and eventually just had to go and do it. And at least with these late calfers, it's one less job I'll have to do with them, and I think it's a big advantage by having the Angus bull as a clean-up bull. I suppose another thing then as well is his progeny will be finished here on the farm, and they will finish very quickly. They'll be finished at possibly 20 months, so 6 weeks at the end of the second summer at grass, and you'll be ready to send them to the factory. And the factory is mad looking for that type of animal, the Angus animal. There's a premium paid of between 20 and 30 cents on them. They should grade R anyway, which is you'll get your base price, and then if you put them through the factories that are running schemes the like of ABP or Keepack, you'll get a further 25 to 30 cent on them. So you're kind of up the scale all the time in the pricing on them there. You should be nearly able to get €8 a kilo or that for the likes of the Anguses there. When you cross the Angus with the good limousine cows and that I have here, you'll have a decent carcass on them as well, and they will grade better than, we'll say, an Angus coming off a Frisian. I had been using red Angus on the heifers, and I was finding that the calves coming off those heifers were finished very quick in the second season, raiding well, and they were killing like lead. So I was very happy with the progenies. So I've tried it out for the last 3 years on the maiden heifers. So I finally got brave enough to buy the Angus bull. And I suppose the last reason why I bought the Angus bull was to have him specifically for the maiden heifers. I was doing AI on the maiden heifers, but I was finding I wasn't getting great conception rates. I was getting maybe 50% of them in calf, and obviously then when I was having to put seeders in them and stuff like that, conception rates weren't wonderful. And then there was 3 and 6 weeks of the breeding season gone, and they still weren't in calf. And then the bull was going out with them, and then they were ending up calf in the end of March and into April. And then it's the same with the second calfers I have now are all kind of late calfers, because the calf late is first calfers. So at least with the Angus bull, I won't be worried about calf and difficulty with him. Just let him off with the heifers, get him in calf, get the calf out of him. I find with the Angus calves, they're born small and they get up and they're shocking hardy. They're really vigorous and they drink. But I find they're not as hard maybe on a heifer as a continental, like a limousine, because there's higher growth rates there, and I think there's a bigger demand for milk. And I just find the Angus are a bit slower growing and maybe not as hard on the heifers. So they're kind of my reasons why I've bought an Aberdeen Angus bull. So you can give your own opinions on it there yourself if you like in the comments there. I don't mind. It's the route I've decided to go on this farm, and I'm hoping with the way beef prices are at the moment that I'm not going to be any worse off for there financially. Once they start calving down next year, we'll keep you posted on calving difficulty and gestation days and all things like that. So that's the update down here with the second bunch of cows. So that's another group of calves gone to grass now full time. They had been at grass there already. They were going out to the little paddock there and in and out at night there for their meal. So now they're going out full time. This group is a group of 25 heifer calves. They're on once a day milk. I have them cut back to about 500 grams of powder from 600 grams. So over the next 10 days now, we'll cut them right back down and wean them off. So they have a nice paddock of grass there. Where they were going out to grass, they have that paddock cleared off, so I'm going to put out another bundle of calves there now. So I'll bring down the milk feeder every day with their allocation of milk and pull it into the field. They'll get their milk down here in the field and then just go about their day. And sure, I just have their trock there as well with nuts and coarse ration in it. So they're eating a good 2 kilos of stuff at the moment. So they're good looking calves now. I'll be happy enough with them. So these are the last 25. Just bringing them down from their lower shed. So they're going down now to go out to grass by day. Go on, go on. Shh. Go on, go on. Just another thing I put up here at the mixing station there where I make the milk replacer for the calves is this whiteboard. And I put all the different groups of calves up on it and where they are and the mixes for them. So at least for me then I don't have to be trying to remember stuff and it's all up there. And when Colin, my nephew, he comes to me every Saturday, he feeds the calves. He knows exactly then what mixes he has to do. And if he's unsure about something, then he can ask me, but it's all there. So I even have the cedar program there that I had for the heifers written up there. So the same thing, in clear instructions, come in here, look at it, know exactly what I have to do, when I have to do it, and tick it off then as it's done. So these 25 calves in the feed are on 12 jugs of powder. So what I'm doing then is I'm reducing them by 2 jugs of powder every day. So that was yesterday's mix. So I'll change that then to 10 today, and it'll be 8 tomorrow and 6, and then they'll be weaned off now in the next 4 days. So that'll be them finished. So it's just something simple, and it's a change I made this year in the calf shed, and I actually have a smaller board then down in the calf shed itself then, that if any calf doesn't drink, or if I thought a calf was a bit off, or if I gave a calf maybe an injection or anything like that, I write it up on the board. So, and the same thing, if Colin is in there and a calf doesn't drink the way he should, he writes his name up on the board and I can check him. So just something I just said I'd show you there. That's their first feed at grass now, apart from I brought them down yesterday. So they're going well. They're on, said 500 grams is about 20 jugs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reduce that by a jug and a half a day. And then they'll be weaned off there in the next 10 to 15 days. And gradually do it like that now. So a good paddock of grass here, so there'll be no fear, and they'll be getting meal as well. So there's good backs in all them calves. I'm not sure what weight they are, probably up around 90 kilos. So I think for heifers, probably good enough for them. I don't really know, but I'm going not on their weight, but on their ability to eat. So I'm kind of happy with them anyway, that they'll go on, and they shouldn't go back too much now once they're weaned off the milk. I'm back down with the calves again. It's probably about 3 weeks maybe since I took that bit of footage there of the calves down here and been brought down with a feeder and that kind of thing. There was 26 calves in the group, and now they are weaned. They got their last sup of watery milk yesterday morning, and then I brought over all the other weaned calves that were together in another paddock, and the paddock they were in was fully grazed out. So they're all together now. There's 64 heifers here now at the moment, and I'm feeding them 1.5 kilos of ration there at the moment. So yesterday's calves, there's not really bawling for the milk, so I just gradually reduced the powder in the feed every day there, till eventually all they were getting was a taste of it. Like, so the grass out here now is after growing up among them. If you would have seen maybe in an earlier video when I let down the very first 14 calves out down here, there was very little grass on it, but now has really grown up around them. There's lots of clover in the grass there, lots of nice edible grass. Now there is a little bit of stem in it, but I actually don't mind that. I spread no fertilizer on this field. I don't want the grass to be too rich in nitrogen and scouring the calves. So they're on nice grass in my opinion. There's plenty of clover and plenty of roughage in it. They're selective grazers. You can see there now where they're grazing out the nice little sweet patches, and over around there making crop circles and that kind of thing. So what the plan is now is I have another paddock, and when that's freshened up, they'll get moved off of this, and hopefully by 3 weeks the new grass seeds will be ready to graze. So the new grass seeds will be these calves' home for the foreseeable, and when they go to the new grass, that will be the end of the meal for them. So they're going to get meal now for the next 3 weeks or a month, and then they'll be on their own. Then after that, it'll be a grass only diet. This paddock, then once the calves come on it, I'll probably come in with the disc mower and mow it, and let the cows in on it and let them clean off the grass, and then it's reset then and ready to go again. So that is the plan as of today. I just said I'd come over and show you the grass seeds where the calves will be going next. You would have seen me sowing these grass seeds, and the dust was coming off the back of the roller, and we were wondering would they ever grow. But I'll just turn around the camera and show them to you there now. So this is the field of grass seeds. They are sown 5 weeks to the day. They are the quickest grass seeds I've ever had to germinate, come up and grow. I'll probably be grazing these in another at least a fortnight, if not sooner. I must have a look now and see, is there much weeds. It'll be due post-emergent spray to hit any weeds and docks that are coming up, and that'll be it then. It'll be done. The grass seeds got 2 bags of 0730, and I gave them a bag of 38% protected urea plus sulfur. So it's got everything it probably needs to get, and then the dung is ploughed in underneath as well. So there should be loads of P and K available there, and a good shot of nitrogen on it. A few people asked me at the time of sowing, would you not hold off when it was so dry and so dusty, and sow it when there was rain due? And my answer to that is, look at the grass seeds behind me. When you're doing a job, in my opinion, get in, get them sown and roll it and close the gate, and let the weather do what the weather does after us, and don't worry about it. Because there's one sure thing, is they weren't going to grow in the bag anyway. So this is where the calves are going to be coming next. And there's another field out there which was sown about 3 years ago. So I'll alternate them back and forth between these two fields, and they can go across to another paddock then as well if they need it. Basically now the calves are going to get the best grass that's available on the farm. That should grow them on fairly well. As I said, they won't be getting meal once they come over here. So I hope I didn't ramble on too much about the cows early on in the video. I suppose that's my interest in it. Maybe it demonstrates the work and thought that I put into the cows and getting them back in calf and all these different things. So I'll leave the video at that. And if you've made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.